Erdinger Brauhau Helles.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. This is the Erdinger Brauhaus Helles. Now, I'm really not sure what to make of this because I've looked online trying to research this beer. Erdinger, the big brewery, make no mention of this whatsoever. And I really can't get my head around what this is, whether this is part of the big Erdinger brewery or whether it's a smaller brewery. I don't know whether it's a range of beers that they've done, because I know they do a Radler in this as well, or in this kind of range. I don't know what to make of it. It's like they've put this out and completely disowned it, if they actually do it. So I have to admit defeat on this one, because my research on this is wanting, put it that way. But the misfortune I have had, I should say, on reviewing or looking at the Erdinger website, seeing that fucking Jurgen Klopp's fucking boat race. Now, I do apologise if there's some Liverpool fans watching this. Yeah, I get it. You support Liverpool and it's your team and all that.
Bitch, you Peruvian, punch you!
I'm not a Liverpool fan, as you can imagine. I still haven't forgiven you fucking git for 2006.
You traitorous scarce-git!
So I went to that final. I'm actually on the telly, would you believe it? On the BBC. They had, right at the very start of the game, fucking hell, I was out of my nut. In my defence, I was drunk. Is that a defence? Who knows? But there's about a 3 or 4 second slot of me stuffing a hot dog into my mouth on the terraces in Cardiff. That was, believe it or not, in 2006, because Wembley was being refurbished. And believe me, if anybody is interested, Cardiff, the Millennium Stadium, is a much better football stadium than Wembley, in my opinion. And even though it was designed as a rugby stadium, it suits football down to the ground. People who designed the Olympic Stadium obviously didn't design it as a football stadium. No legacy there, but I fucking digress. But needless to say, I've had to look at Jurgen Klopp, and yeah, I'm not a fan. Is he a nice bloke? I don't know. I can't get past them fucking teeth. I need to put shades on when he's talking, because his teeth are fucking so white. Whiter than an Eskimo's Aris. Anyway, more on that later. This is Erdinger Original Helles Lager beer. Now, again, I'm really am treading water here, because I'm assuming this is the Erdinger brewery, the famous Weiss beer brewer, whose, put it this way, whose Weiss beer I really don't like at all. I think it's, in fact, I think it's disgusting stuff. I had a near-death experience. I used to drink it, so I do have experience of it. I've drank it from the bottle, and I've drank it from the tap as well. And I nearly had a near-death, well, I did have a near-death experience on a train into London. When I moved to Kent, first of all, I had a night on the Erdingers. I must have done about 7 or 8 of them, probably more. And I had to get up at 4:45, and on the train I got the sweats, I was heaving, and my worst nightmare, I thought, I can't die in front of these people, because I have to see these people every day. They're going to know, and it's going to be so undignified. But anyway, I'm sure I've mentioned that before in my Erdinger videos. To be honest, if this is the same brewery, and I'm not committing to it, because Erdinger make no bones about it. Listen, Erdinger, if you are watching, if any of your marketing twats are watching this, if you're going to brew something like this, put it on your fucking website, because there's nothing on your website. I even checked the German one. I did notice that in the URL they put UK in front of it, so I was assuming, right, maybe they haven't covered this on the UK site because it's not available that widely yet in the UK. So I did go to the German website and it's not on there either. So there's no website that's featuring this that I could find. And to be honest, reviewing or looking at Erdinger websites really isn't my kind of thing, because I don't think they brew good beer. I've reviewed a lot of their stuff on the channel, and quite frankly, coming from Bavaria, it's wanting, especially when it comes to Weiss beer. The Weiss beer doesn't taste like Weiss beer. If Schneider Weiss are at the very, very top of Bavarian wheat beer, in my opinion, Erdinger are at the very, very bottom. The reason being, there's none of the characteristics, in my opinion, in their wheat beer that I like. There's no banana flavour at all, there's no clove. The carbonation in there is just insane, and it's to the point where it's obtrusive, and in my opinion that's not a good sign. Believe me, I would go as far as to say every wheat beer brewer in Germany is better than Erdinger. I just don't like their wheat beer, but I'm digressing. Anyway, this room is really warm and this is warming up, and I don't really want to get it too hot, so I'm going to skip forward and stop ranting about Erdinger. Needless to say, I'm not a fan of their stuff. Right, this is a 500ml bottle. It is 5.1%. It is a Helles. There is no brew sheet. I really can't get you any information about what's going on here at all. It is a genuine Bavarian beer. I'm assuming it's from the same brewery, because I imagine there's only one brewery in Erding, which is a town in southwest Germany. And if you're going to put out Erdinger as the name of the beer, I'm sure that massive conglomerate that is Erdinger, and it is big. It's I think got distribution rights from Carlsberg, because it's quite widely available over here. I've had it on numerous occasions on draft over here in pubs. Wetherspoons used to do it. I know that the Pendarel's Oak used to do it in Holborn in London. I used to drink it there quite a lot. They had a bar downstairs, and that's where the scene of the crime was, where I had about 8 pints, and the next day, Jesus Christ. Anyway, relax. Let's get it open and let's see if this has got anything going for it. Now, I will be shocked if Erdinger can brew a good beer, because I know Schneider Weiss and Weihenstephaner, who brew, in my opinion, the best wheat beer, not just in Germany, but in Bavaria. But they both do Helleses, and, Weihenstephaner do a Pilsner as well, but they do Helleses, and they're both great. Schneider Weiss and the Weihenstephaner Helleses are both excellent. So, will Erdinger live up to their reputation of being consistently shit? Well, there you go. Look, I've poured that the way I would normally pour a Helles, and look at the amount of head that's gone on there. But the carbonation, if you look in there, is very slow moving. It's very light. What are we getting on the nose? Now, I'm going to reserve judgment on this, because I've just reviewed the Oberdorfer, and that when on the aroma there was lots and lots of sulphur, but it wasn't too bad a beer. I quite liked it. This again has got lots of sulphur in it, and you do have to let the beer settle a bit, because sulphur will build up in the bottle. And I've just poured this out, so I'm probably going to get some sulphur in there, but I'm saying that through not gritted teeth, but I'm saying that with in mind that if I pour out a Hackashaw or a Paulaner, immediately the aroma is really nice with no sulphur at all. So draw your own conclusions from that. But yeah, now the aroma's died down completely, and there isn't much at all. Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. It's Erdinger, and Erdinger consistently crap. I've tried their Dunkel Weiss, I've tried their Picantus, I've tried their Weiss. I even tried a bottle of their non-alcoholic beer, bought it by mistake. Oh, that was a traumatic experience, that was. Yes, not very nice at all. Anyway, I digress. Just more sulphur. The little bit I've poured in, it's just giving off more sulphur. And that's it really. Nothing else to write home about. Will the flavour redeem it? Let's find out. Up the hammers, Jürgen. Right, first impressions. Quite full bodied, which is good. I do like that. It's got a nice big full body on it. I did mention this in the other video that I tried the Steinberger Hell, and that was a really nice beer, but the only thing that let it down was the body on it. This, and I've just tried the Oberdorfer as well, they both have body like this, which is good. So that's one thing that Erdinger have got right. Let me dig in again. It just lacks flavour, as does Erdinger beer. Now don't get me wrong, if you had this on a really hot day, which this is, I mean this is now, what time is it now? It's 8:10 and it's still 71 degrees. So this room is hot and outside it's really hot as well. And this is actually going down quite nicely, but in terms of flavour there isn't much. I just want to show you the carbonation on this. It's virtually non-existent, which is a good thing when it comes to Erdinger, because believe me, they do go over the top when it comes to carbonation. It seems they've forgot the memo on this one. There's a vague sweetness to it, a vague honey sweetness to it, which is there. It mixes nicely with the full body that's on this beer, but there's no hop character at all. There's no real nice grassy. And when I say grass, I'm talking about like hay, fresh cut grass, that type of thing. That sweet grass type flavour and aroma. There's no spice on there, you know, like slight black pepper spice. There's none of that. And there's no herbal notes like thyme or anything on it. They're the main sort of flavours I would expect from a good Bavarian Helles. And this does have the honey, I will say that, but it's kind of vague. The body on this is quite nice, I will say that. But aside from that, it's just very, very average, to be honest. It's quite clean drinking, I will say that. Not much carbonation on there, so it's quite smooth. I'm really digging for the diamonds in the dog shit with this one now, but it is refreshing, I will say that, and it's not going to send me into Hitleresque rants like the Erdinger Weissbier does. Do you know, I was thinking, I've got a bottle of the Franziskaner Helles in the fridge as well, and I should have compared them, really. Should I do it now? Do you know what? I'm going to do it now. Watch this space. Right, this is the Franziskaner Helles, and this has turned into, it wasn't originally going to be a comparison video, but the fucking cogs were going round in my head, and I thought, well, there's two breweries, Erdinger, well, if this is Erdinger, I'm assuming it is, if they're two renowned Weissbier brewers that are going to be doing a Helles, well then let's compare them and see what's going on. Now I must say I prefer Franziskaner Weissbier to the Erdinger any day of the week. However, I did try the Erdinger Dunkelweiss, didn't think much of that. So I am not quite sure what's going to go on with the Helles, but let's get it open and let's see what's going on. Because I think this is probably a good or two good beers to compare with each other. That's the cat. That was the cat by the way, in case you were wondering what that was. But let's just get this into the glass. Now I was going to do a separate review of this, but why not just compare them? Right, so that was just full of sulphur and not much else on the aroma. What are we getting on here? Not a fucking great deal. Let's get a little bit more in there. Mish. That's what we're getting. 0, 0, zilch. There really is no aroma from that whatsoever. How can you do that from Bavaria? At least fucking Erdinger had some fucking sulphur going for it. Jesus, there's nothing. Right, if I put my nose right to it, and I'm loath to do this because I've done this before and it's gone up my nose, down my nostrils, and believe me, the after effects were not pleasant. So I'm going to get this as close to my nose without trying to fucking breathe it in. And I really have to put it right up close to get any type of aroma at all. So, fucking hell, what do I know? Erdinger at the moment is beating this for aroma. Let's see what's going on in the flavour. Zum Wohl. Well, it is full-bodied. I will say that. Again, it sort of matches the Erdinger in the body, but fine, malzig und mild. Well, it is definitely mild because there is no fucking aroma on flavour in that at all. Not getting anything on the flavour. Come on, you've got to be something. Come on. Jesus, there really is nothing. There's a slight, I don't know, how would you put this? A slight bitterness on the finish, like a slight spicy bitterness on the finish, but there really is nothing. No big malt, no big honey. I have to say at the moment, this Erdinger Helles is beating this Franziskaner hands down. That is instantly forgettable. It really is. Now let's have another go on the Erdinger. There is a little bit more in the flavour department going on. I've got, well, a slight honey flavour from the yeast. Both are full-bodied, I will say that. I mean, you do know you're drinking a decent beer because it's got, well, I say decent in terms of body on the beer. But the Franziskaner, Jesus, there's nothing on there at all. The finish, well, it's non-existent as far as I'm concerned. There really is nothing there at all. The Erdinger, marginally more. One thing that both of them have got going for them, there's no nasties in there. So let's draw the fucking line there. That isn't nasty. That isn't nasty. I would drink these, and if there was nothing else, yes, I would drink that. This is 4.8% ABV. This is actually out of date this month. I don't think that's got much to do with it at all. The fact that there's no flavour on there. In general, I'm disappointed with both of them. that Erdinger's warming up slightly, and there's a bit more flavour coming out. There's a little bit more of a malt profile coming through there now. But I've had, you know, the Schneider Weiss, the Weihenstephaner Helles, even the Oberdorfer Helles, and the Starnberger Helles, especially the Starnberger Helles. That was a really good one. Just lacked the body that these two had, and that came out of the fridge cold, and the aroma wasn't that great, to be honest, but it was really nice. These, there isn't much there at all. It's just insipid. It's the most inoffensive Bavarian Helles I think I've tasted, that Franziskaner. And yeah, I don't really think this is going to make inroads anywhere. I know the Germans are quite loyal to their local brewers, but why would you go out of your way to buy this when there's so many other good beers in Bavaria? Let's compare the colours for starters. That's got a slight haze to it, and yeah, that is a haze. That looks more filtered. I don't know if you can see that or not. And this is more of a golden yellow. This looks nicer, but there's just no flavour. Now, I am saying this from a beer reviewer's perspective. If you were having a meal, I imagine this would be okay, because, you know, if you really want to taste the flavours of the food that you're eating, then this would be a relatively good palate cleanser. But to be honest, coming from Bavaria, I would expect a little bit more, and there are better beers to have with food. I think the Neumarkt beer, which is a vegan beer, it's sold in a lot of vegan restaurants. That is specifically designed for eating or having with food. It's specifically designed for eating. How many people eat beer? This. It just doesn't do anything for me at all. Just no character to it. And yeah, I think Franziskaner should just stick to the Weiss beer, and I think that's the only good beer that they do. Everything else that I've tried from them, the Dunkelweiss, the Helles, nah, not great at all. The Erdinger, slightly surprising. It isn't bad. It's got a little bit more going for it than that, but in the grand scheme of things, it ain't great. Yeah, they're much of a muchness, really. There's a little bit more going on with the Erdinger, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think I'm going to get any more flavours out of these two. So it's pointless me carrying on. This didn't start off as a comparison video, but in my infinite wisdom, I decided to make it one. What are the verdicts on these two? Well, that is a big disappointment. And coming from Bavaria, I mean, yeah, I get it. There may be some people that just don't like a lot of flavour in their beer. Fair enough. Not my bag, to be honest. I want some flavour if I'm going to be drinking beer. Some people, they don't want that. So they're probably like that. I get it. I do get it. This has got marginally more flavour, but the two of them, they're just two cheeks of the same Aris, in my opinion. That's got very little flavour. That's got marginally more flavour than that. And the two of them, coming from Bavaria, well, yeah. I mean, I know it's all a matter of taste. I'm all about the flavour when it comes to beer, and I'm sure a lot of you looking at these videos, you're the same as well. if you want a palate cleanser and you're eating some food and you don't want to really think about what the flavour of the beer is, you're more interested in the food, then yeah, these would be just okay. If you're drinking these wanting a great beer experience, then I mean, this is 4.8%, so you know, if you want the taste of nothing, then this would be a good session Helles. This slightly more, is it 5.1 or 5.2? Yeah, 5.1. Then yeah, I mean, the ABVs are just fucking minimal in the grand scheme of things. You're going to be fucking drinking loads of them. You're going to be drunk by the end of the day anyway. But on the whole, for me, my personal taste, where I want flavour, these are disappointing. So on the strength of that, given that this is £2.79, I've seen this advertised in the UK for £2.79, which is, well, Hofbrau is £3. This is 21p dearer. There's a hell of a lot more flavour in the Hofbrau. This, I've never seen this in the UK, so yeah. I mean, anything. I didn't research this because this was an impromptu comparison. So anything that's in the brew sheet, forget it, because it just doesn't translate to the flavour. And on the strength of that, considering where they come from, I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10 as well, because really, coming from Bavaria, I expect a little bit more. So there you go. And remember, beer is working class champagne.
What the fuck is going on? Hey? What's going on? Oh, you little bastard.